So in this video today, I'm talking about discovering the positive traits of codependency so that you can enhance your codependency recovery. Because codependency isn't all bad, and that's what you're going to find out in this video. But first, if you're new, my name's Michelle Ferris. I'm a psychotherapist, and I love helping people create relationships that work. And quick definition, codependency is basically a relationship pattern where you're sacrificing yourself for other people. You're in one-sided relationships that don't benefit you most of the time, and you're wiping yourself out in the process. So part of recovery is to look for the positive traits, and here are 5 that I'm going to walk you through. The first positive trait of codependency is that you're super giving and generous. You have a huge heart, and people love that about you. You're the first person to help family, friends, your community, your kids' school. You step in and take action. You literally would give the shirt off your back to help somebody not suffer. And while that's a lovely trait, in codependency recovery, you want to strive for a healthy balance of giving and taking. Because if you're doing all the giving, you're going to be wiping yourself out. And the thing is that when you give less, you're going to actually be able to give more deeply. Because when we give from a place of choice, not obligation, we're much happier. And that really comes through in our relationships. So here's a quick question I want you to ask yourself. Can you give without it hurting you? If the answer is yes, great, do it. If the answer is no, don't. That's where your boundary is. So the second positive trait of codependency is that you're super reliable and trustworthy. You are the person people go to for support because they know you're gonna show up. You're not gonna ditch them. You're gonna be there when you say you're gonna be there, and that's a lovely trait. You are the one that shows up in a crisis providing support and encouragement. And that's a precious quality because that shows that people really trust you. Now in codependency recovery, you need to know your boundaries because you don't want to lose yourself in somebody else's crisis. Now, if you're relating to this at all, say me too in the comments because I know you have positive traits in you. The next positive trait of codependency is that you have an amazing sensitivity to pick up on other people's emotions. And you're right most of the time. This is a very big gift. You're able to read a room emotionally better than anyone. And part of the reason that happens is because you likely learned that growing up in order to stay safe. And the benefit here is that you can use that sensitivity to gauge whether or not it's safe to approach someone, whether or not you need to walk away if there's narcissistic rage or somebody is being mean or abusive, or if somebody's not treating you well. That sensitivity is going to help you protect yourself from narcissistic anger and people's mistreatment of you. And that's why it can be such a gift when done in moderation. So in codependency recovery, you need to learn how to separate your emotions from theirs so that you don't take their behaviors and their feelings personally. So in codependency recovery, the goal is to learn how to separate your feelings from theirs and not take what they're saying personally. Now you can ask them, hey, is this about me? But if they say no, believe it. Because your new mantra in codependency recovery is, it's not about me. And that's really an important distinction in codependency recovery, to not take things so personally. Because codependents tend to blame themselves when other people are upset. And that's not your responsibility. Because recovery is about honoring what you need, not always taking care of others. So the next positive trait of codependency is that you intuitively know what other people need. And that's because when you struggle with codependency, you tend to focus a lot on other people. So you actually get really good at knowing what they need. So in a crisis or a really difficult situation, you know what's going to work and what isn't. And people look to you for that. You become the go-to person when something bad happens because you've had a lot of practice and you intuitively know what's needed in a situation. And that's actually your gift. People look to you to solve their problems because a lot of times you're really good at it. You need to shift that focus. So in codependency recovery, you need to use that gift to discover what you're feeling, not always focusing on what they're feeling, because that's how in codependency you will lose your sense of self. And the next positive trait of codependency is that you're a great advocate. When family and friends are sick, struggling, you're the first person to step up. You fight for the underdog. This is your gift. Ironically, you probably find it easier to advocate for other people than it is yourself because it doesn't feel selfish and self-centered. A lot of times codependents struggle with thinking of themselves because they think it's selfish. But fighting for someone else's rights is what you're great at. That's your superpower. You are their champion because you have a huge heart and you want to end their suffering and you want things to be fair. That's probably a big value for you. So in codependency recovery, you're going to need to discern who you want to advocate for and when it's best to let it go, because not everybody benefits from our help. For instance, helping someone that doesn't want to help themselves and keeps doing the same thing over and over, expecting you to rescue them, that may not be the person you put a lot of time and energy in. You get to decide in your recovery who you want to advocate for and when it's best for you to detach and walk away. So the next step I want you to do is go watch my video on codependency so that you can deepen your recovery. Thanks so much.